This week on Sailing Sweet Ruka, lightning draws near on day 2 of our trip across the Atlantic to the Azores, and we get a little spinnaker action in before the storms hit. Hey everyone, we're Sailing Sweet Ruka. I'm Kate, this is Curtis, and Roxy the dog, and we're here to sail around the world via Cape Horn and the Cape of Good Hope. We like to take the sea less traveled and are ready for some serious offshore sailing. So come along for the ride and click subscribe.
It's romanticized, idealized. Nothing has been more cruel.
Good morning, everyone. It is the sunrise on day 2. There's some clouds, but that's okay. It's been a really comfortable night. I really can't ask for much more. We got lots of sleep and made some progress. Kurt wishes we had a code 0 so we could just rip along a little bit. And I think it would be nice, but fortunately we don't have one of those right now. So moving along at about 70 degrees apparent wind and just grateful for the sunrise and the good weather.
It's day 2 here on Sweet Ruka's transatlantic crossing. I'm just checking some weather. It looks like the weather files and the grids are really confused past 24 hours. It's going to get light, it's going to get fluky, and we're going to have to really work hard to keep the boat moving. We're just about to go put the spinnaker up. After I check and respond to some emails, grab a little bit more weather information, we'll put the spinnaker up and we'll just try and make the best VMC that we can right now, and then it's going to be a dice roll after that, so we'll just go with the flow here.
We start by getting out the spinnaker sheets. These don't stay on full time because we want to prolong the life of the lines by keeping them out of the sun. I ran the port side sheet through the blocks and tied it off on the lifeline so it wouldn't fall in the water. Next, it was time to run the starboard sheet, staying clipped in along the way, being the only one out on deck at the time. Safety first. On the bow, I am hooking up the block for the tack line by attaching it above the anchor roller. It may sound like a quick activity, but the bow is actually the bounciest spot on the boat, and I'm trying very carefully not to drop any parts. Once attached, I'll run the tack line through and around to the leeward side to join the sheets. This is our setup for our asymmetrical kites.
Wonderful. Yep, under the sail, over the sheet. You got it.
The spinnaker is packed in such a way it's easy to find the tack and the clue to hook up the sheets. Here, Curtis is starting with the tack, which will be fastened down just on top of the anchor roller.
We're going to rig for an inside jibe, so we want our tack line right here to be over the top of our sheet.
Next, both sheets are attached to the clue with bowlines. We've already double checked that the sheets were rigged up properly before hooking them on. Don't want any issues with the hoist.
Make sure all of our sheets are always over the top and outside of the lifeline. Okay, we're going to leave the head in the bag until we furl the sail, just to stop the spinnaker halyards from getting caught in the furler up top. disregard, we're just cruising, so it's a little bit safer. All right, let's go back and roll the jib, and then we'll get ready to put the spinnaker up. Ease that out.
Okay. Are you good on tackling? Notice how I keep an eye on Curtis the whole time. This lets me know what is going on up on the foredeck and is also an extra safety check for Curtis as he uses the halyard to balance and stay on the boat. His balance is in my hands. He's jumping the halyard while I pull out the slack, but sometimes it can get stuck on a block. Okay, I'm holding. Am I there? She's ready. Ready. The spinnaker is up, but because we have a sock over it for shorthanded sailing, it is not yet flying. So I'm ready with the sheet in my hand while Curtis pulls the sock to the top of the rig. We add some final tension to the spin halyard for the weather conditions and then tuck the bag securely away. You'll notice that Curtis is using a remote control to steer the autopilot. This was a later addition and one that allows a lot more freedom with shorthanded sailing. We had the boat turned down a bit to make the hoist a bit easier on the kite. Once everything is settled, I tidy the sheets and halyards for a clean and safe cockpit.
Is that rolling? This is not rolling through the whole hoist. Well, we forgot to press the record button through the hoist, but the spinnaker is up. It was an easy process. We furled the jib and then hoisted the spinnaker. Kate and Roxy are both sleeping. We're still moving right along, 7+ knots, right in the direction we want to go. Pretty quiet, not a whole lot going on. We've got good power going on. So after a day of sailing, we're at -14 amps. We'll take that. We're still pulling in about 18 or 19 amps with solar and wind. It's about 3 p.m., a little cloudy out. Sent some emails, sent some texts, updated some people as to where we are. Not a whole lot else going on though. Guess that's it for now.
Oh,
the sun got closer to setting, 2 squalls were creeping up behind us and sucking the wind, so Curtis took over at helm for a bit in hopes of outsailing the rain and possible wind. There was a lot of neck turning and radar watching as we had the spinnaker up, and even though we have a sock on it for ease of takedown, we'd want to make sure it was down way before there becomes a safety issue.
Got a couple of squalls behind us, about 6 and 8 miles back there. One of them's moving towards us, what we can see on the radar, and we're just going to be prepared here, keep an eye on them, just in case we need to douse the old spinnaker, or we can get a little puff of wind and go off ripping. We'll see what happens.
Curtis is keeping a close eye on the radar so we can see our distance from the squalls and our estimated time before they might reach us. So maybe they'll go right down the sides of us, or they might come at us. So we're just keeping a close eye. This will be the first rain that we see on this trip. We've got life jackets on deck, and we are going to be ready to go in case anything happens. So that's what's going on right now.
A castaway, and I'm not sure. Those stranger in the sky. I'm always in blue for you. Always in blue. Always in blue for you.
1, CPA of 0.49. So this one right here is coming for us right now, but he might go behind us a little. So we're okay, good CPAs, but we need to be prepared just in case.
Even if the squalls are short-lived, they can still have some master blaster puffs, so we decided to play it safe and take down the spinnaker last second. Unfortunately, not on film, as we made the decision quickly. We got hit with a few sprinkles, but we weren't out of the woods yet.
Just a wee bit of rain. Easy pull or what?
Yeah, we're going to go to the number 3. Big trim.
Rainbow! Sunset on the old. Alright, let me just go through the whole thing. Okay, so spinnaker came down, slight tear in the sock, we'll fix that later, and then we reefed the main, then we unfurled the jib, went back to a full main. Notice that this little cell over here caught up with us and saw that it might have winds up to 90 miles an hour. So then we reefed the jib, 2 reefs, and now we are just watching the wind go by us. But there still might be a little bit behind it here that could give us some breeze. However, I am just glad we are not sailing in 90 mile per hour winds. So hopefully the breeze comes back after these systems go through and we'll have a beautiful night's sail. Wonderful practice, fire drills, got our workout in for the day and earned our dinner. So
We saw the squall, so we popped our radar on and started tracking it with MARPA. And we saw that there were some individual areas or cells within this big cell that were possibly moving at a speed of up to 90 miles an hour or 90 knots. So with that, we were making the assumption that there could be up to that wind speed at the very front of one of those cells as it's moving. So to prepare for a possible gust up to that speed, this is what we did. Oh, now we just have to find some wind. Careful with the shit that's in the van, okay? What do we got?
We got arepas with ham and cheese and eggs. And Roxy smells it because here she comes. You want some too, don't you, buddy? You already had your dinner. Here we have Curtis eating dinner with Roxy bagging and getting some sniffs in because she smells, what does she smell?
A storm.
A storm. Yeah. Over there we've got thunder and lightning at times. You can see the clouds still.
We're about 10 miles away.
Hopefully it stays 10 miles or more away.
I hope so too.
But the spinnaker is down now.
We're still under full sail, but we're ready to reef and drop.
Are ready to reef and drop or jibe away. After we finished dinner, we set up the GoPro to watch the storm. We also caught some of our discussion about it. The beeping you hear from time to time is the radar alarm. Night had settled and we were glued to the sky and the radar screen. Definitely like cloudy all around us, huh?
Yeah. There's one cell there with the base of us, 66 knots. So, 9 miles away.
Maybe he's growing and not disappearing.
That's what I'm wondering.
Should we just reef the main?
Yeah.
Well, it's blowing 1 to 2.
That?
I'm talking to the camera.
Oh, okay, sorry.
It's blowing 1 to 2 knots, so we're motoring, and it's pretty squally out there. Saw some lightning from time to time. Hoping it goes away, don't want to see any more lightning. Lots of rain, as you can see I'm pretty wet. Just checking around outside and checking the temperature of the engine because there's a lot of sargasso weed out there. We don't want to suck up and overheat. Looks like it's trying to dissipate, believe it or not. Hopefully it does because I could go for some clear skies. Although the boat got a wash. The rain hit us before the winds came. We managed a few reefs before it was all over quickly. Sadly, it took all the wind with it. The rest of the night was calm and the excitement was over. Stay tuned as we make our first offshore repairs and battle yet more storms aboard Sailing Sweet Ruka.